Hello, my dear students. Once again, today I am here in front of you with a new poem. And the name of the poem is The Tale of Custard the Dragon, written by Ogden Nash. Ogden Nash, this particular poet is famous for ballads. He has written numerous ballads. So, first of all, we should know what is a ballad. A song or a poem that tells a story in stanzas. So, here, as I have said, The Tale of Custard the Dragon by Ogden Nash is a ballad. So here we are going to get a story, and story will be discussed in stanzas. So let's start the poem. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse and a little yellow dog and a little red wagon and a really truly little pet dragon. So here in this stanza we are getting the first character of the story, and she was a little girl. Her name was Belinda, and she used to live in a white colored house. She was not living alone in that house. With her, she had a black kitten and a little grey mouse as her pet. Not only that, she had a little yellow dog also. She had a dog whose color was yellow, and she had a red wagon. Wagon what? The carrier, the thing or the carrier through which we can carry goods from one place to another. This is what? Wagon. So she had a red colored wagon also. Above all, she had something else, and a really truly little pet dragon. Really truly. Here really means what? Really truly means what? Truly. So this is accepted in poems. Poets has the right to change some words in their poems to maintain the rhythm of the poem. So here also the poet Ogden Nash had changed really to realio and truly to trulio. So he had said two things, really or trulio. That means we have to believe it, that Belinda had a little pet dragon also. It is quite not possible to have a dragon as pet, but she had. That's why the poet had said really or truly. That means she had given emphasis on that we have to believe it. She had a little pet dragon also. So what is dragon? First of all, we must know. Dragon is an imaginary creature. It is a huge animal. Somehow it is believed that it is related to Chinese mythology. It is believed that it was there in China so many years ago. It is huge in size, and when it opens its mouth, fire comes out from the mouth of the animal. So that dangerous type of animal is what? Dragon. And nobody will believe that somebody may keep dragon as pet. That's why the poet had said twice, really or truly. That means really, truly. Why don't you believe it? Really I am telling, truly I am telling, she had a pet dragon also. Now in this stanza we are going to get the names of all the pet animals. Now the name of the little black kitten was Ink. So she used to call the little black kitten as Ink, and the little grey mouse, she called him Blink. So she used to call the little grey mouse as what? Blink. And the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard. She had a little yellow dog. Color of the dog was what? Yellow, and it resembles the color of mustard. That's why she used to call the dog as Mustard. But the dragon was coward, and she called him Custard. But the dragon she had as pet at her house, it was a coward dragon. The dragon generally are not coward. They are so dangerous animal. But the dragon which she had as her pet, it was a coward. That's why she used to call her as Custard. Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth and spikes on top of him and scales underneath, mouth like a fireplace, chimney for a nose, and really, truly, daggers on his toes. So here in this stanza we are going to get the description of the dragon, description of Belinda's pet dragon. Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth. The dragon which she had, it had what? Sharp teeth, and those were big in size. That means teeth were big and they were sharp also. Spikes on top of him. Spike we understand now. You generally, or students make spike on their hair, on their head. Spike, that means straight. So straight like things are there on his body, and scales underneath. Scale means what? That means bony like thing, bony, B-O-N-Y, bony like things that protect the reptiles. When they walk on the land, when they move from one place to another, it protects them. So these bony like things, scales, were underneath the body of the dragon. Then on the top of the body of dragon, what was there? Spike. And at the bottom part of his body was what it was? Dragon was like a reptile. So the bottom part of its body was what? Was having scales to protect his body while walking from one place to another, while moving from one place to another. The dust or something else what will be there on the land, it will not harm them. This is what? Scales. So she had, the dragon had scales underneath its body. Mouth like fireplace, chimney for a nose. Mouth of the dragon was like fireplace. Fireplace, we understand, that means the place from where fire comes out. So mouth was like fireplace. That means whenever it opens its mouth, fire comes out. And nose was like what? A chimney. Nostrils of the nose were like what? Chimneys. Nose, that means whole one, and nostrils, these two holes are two nostrils. They were like chimneys. Chimney, what is chimney? We understand that means big in size, and when something is cooked under it, something is baked under it, smoke comes out from the chimneys. So as the mouth was like fireplace, that's why the poet is saying that the nose was big and it was like chimneys. With fireplace, chimneys. And really or truly or daggers on his toes. Once again, giving emphasis, he is telling that really I am telling you, truly you, why don't you believe? You have to believe it that I am telling you really truly. The toes were like what? Daggers. What is dagger? Dagger is knife. K-N-I-F-E, knife. Knife in bigger size. This is what? Dagger. When it is small in size, we call it knife. When it becomes big in size, it is what? Dagger. It is not knife. So toes were like what? Daggers. That means toes were like big knives. So this is all about the description of the dragon. That means teeth were big and sharp, spikes on the top of his body, scales on the bottom part of its body, and mouth was like fireplace, nose was like chimney, and its toes were like what? Daggers. Now we will get the description of all others, how brave they were or how coward they were. Earlier we got Custard the dragon was a coward one. So here we are going to get the description of all other pet animals except Custard, because Custard already we have got, it was a coward one. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. Belinda, the girl, she was so brave. How much brave she was? As a barrel full of bears. Simply if we take the phrase a barrel as brave as a barrel full of bears, that means she was so brave that she was not afraid of anything. She was not afraid of anything. And here it is written, she was as brave as a barrel full of bears. Here barrel means what? A cage. When a cage which is full of bears, and togetherly how much braveness all the bears will be, how much braveness the bears would have, that much braveness Belinda alone had. Once more, Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears, that means barrel, cage. When a cage is full of bears, and togetherly how much brave all the bears will be, that much brave Belinda alone is. And Ink and Blink chased lions down the stairs. And Ink, the little kitten, and Blink, the little grey mouse, they were also so brave. Even they had the courage that they even can chase a lion down the stairs. If sometimes lions enters into their house, they have the courage, they have the ability to chase the lion down their stairs. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage. And Mustard, the yellow dog, he was as brave as a tiger in a rage. Means what? When a tiger in his angry mode, rage means what? Anger. When a tiger in his angry mode, how much brave he becomes, that much braveness is there with whom? With the yellow dog. But Custard cried for a nice safe cage. But I said earlier, the Custard, the dragon, was a coward one. That's why he used to cry for a nice safe cage. Rest others, all who are there in Belinda's White House, every one of them was what? Brave. But dragon was so coward, and he used to cry. He used to cry for a nice safe cage to protect himself. As the dragon was coward, so what happens to him? Let's see. Belinda tickled him. She tickled him unmerciful. Ink, Blink, and Mustard, they rudely called him possible. They all sat laughing in the little red wagon at the really or truly or cowardly dragon. Belinda tickled. Tickle means what? To touch somebody's body that makes somebody uncomfortable or feeling itchy. This is what tickling. So Belinda used to tickle the body of the dragon. How she used to tickle? She used to tickle unmercifully, not nicely, not mercifully. Unmercifully, she used to tickle the body of the dragon, which creates itchiness in the body of dragon. Ink, Blink, and Mustard, they rudely called him possible. Ink, that means the little kitten, Blink, the grey mouse, and Mustard, the yellow dog, all of them rudely, that means in bad language, they used to call the dragon as what? Possible. So now what is possible? Why they used to call him as possible? Percival was one of the knights of King Arthur's round table. He was so brave. He was so brave. But one day what happened? One day he returned back from somewhere afraiding the enemy. He was afraid of the enemy and he returned back without fulfilling his duty. And from then onwards, he became an example of coward people. He became an example of cowardly creatures. So, taking that example, Ink, Blink, and Mustard, they used to call him as possible. Call whom? Call the dragon. They all sat laughing in that little red wagon at the really truly cowardly dragon. So, they all, means Belinda, Ink, Blink, and Mustard, all of them sat on the red wagon, and sitting on the red wagon, they were laughing at home at the dragon. Here once again the poet said the really or truly. Really or truly, that means he is giving emphasis on that. Why? Because it is quite unacceptable to see that. That means a small cat, a small mouse, and a little girl, they were laughing at home, laughing at a huge animal, a dangerous animal, dragon. But here, really, truly, the poet is saying that the dragon was so coward. Really, he was so coward. That's why, these little creatures were laughing at him sitting on the red wagon. Belinda giggled till she shook the house. How they were making fun of him. Here in this stanza, we'll get this one. Belinda giggled till she shook the house, and Blink said, "Weak, which is giggling for a mouse." Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age when Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Belinda started giggling. That means she was smiling, making giggles sound. So she was giggling. How she was giggling? She was giggling in such a way that all her white house was shaking. That means she was shaking the house by her giggling. And Blink said, "Weak, which is giggling for a mouse." And Blink, that means the little grey mouse, he said, "Weak." That means he made his sound. and said, "Who is giggling for a mouse? Who wants a mouse to come out? Who is giggling?" Just he is showing his bravery. Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age. Then Ink and Mustard, they rudely, that means in rough voice, they asked the age of the dragon. They were asking him, "What is your age?" That means dragons should not be what? So coward. What is your age? Why are you so coward? They were asking, rudely asking the age of the dragon. When Custard cried for a nice safe cage. They were doing all those things, but Custard was crying only to get a nice safe cage. He was not showing his bravery. He was showing that he was a coward one. So they were making fun of him. They were laughing at him. They were calling him so many things, but he was not angry. He was just saying that I need a nice safe cage to protect myself. Next para, we'll get something happened in the house. Now, the bravery of all the animals will come out in front of us, in front of the reader, and it will be exposed now. Suddenly they heard a nasty sound, and Mustard growled, and they all looked around. "Meouch!" cried Ink. "Ooh!" cried Belinda, for there was a pirate climbing in the window. Suddenly, twice the poet said, means what? That means they were totally unaware about that. Suddenly they heard a nasty sound. Whoever was residing in Belinda's White House, they heard a nasty sound. Nasty means what? A dangerous sound. They heard a dangerous sound. And Mustard growled, and they all looked around. And hearing this nasty sound, what did the Mustard do? Mustard what? The yellow dog. He growled. He made a sound. It happens. That means when dogs, that means gets information, they gets information about any danger, they growls. So they here also, after listening to or after hearing the nasty sound, the Mustard growled. And when the Mustard growled, all the creatures of the house, they looked around. What happened? "Meouch!" cried Ink. Looking around, what happened? The Ink, the little kitten, he made his sound. Meouch. So meouch is of two kinds. Okay, one, normally when cats make sound, meouch, meouch, and sometimes what happens when they feel that some danger is there, they made another kind of sound, meouch. So this sound was made by the Ink, meouch. And "Ooh!" cried Belinda, and Belinda, she said, "Ooh!" That means she realized that some danger is approaching. So she made a sound, "Ooh!" For there was a pirate climbing in the window. Why they were making these kind of sounds? Because a pirate was climbing in the window. Window here also, it is from window. It is from what? Window. To make or to maintain the rhythm of the poem, the poet made the word window from what? Window. Pirate means what? Pirate means robbers of the sea. So here they have seen a dangerous robber was approaching towards their house, and that's why all of them were making various kinds of sounds. And from their sounds, it is very clear that all of them were afraid of the situation. Earlier they said they were so brave, and now seeing a pirate, all of them were afraid of the situation. Now let's see what happens. Now in this stanza, we are going to get the description of the pirate, how he was, how dangerous he was. Pistol in his left hand, pistol in his right, and he held in his teeth a cutlass bright. His beard was black, one leg was wood. It was clear that the pirate meant no good. So the pirate who was approaching or who was climbing towards their window, he had a pistol in his left hand and he had another pistol in his right hand. So he had two pistols in his two hands, and he had in his teeth a cutlass bright. A cutlass means what? Cutlass means sword in small size. A bright sword of small size was there in his teeth. That means he held a small sword of bright color. That means it was shining. and he held this one in his teeth. How I am showing you, he held it like this in his teeth. Cutlass bright. Cutlass means what? Cutlass means what? Sword in small size, and bright, that means it was so bright, it was so sharp, and it was shining. His beard was black. Pirate had beard, and the color of the beard was what? Black. One leg was wood, and one of his leg was what? Made up of wood. So in ancient movies, ancient serials, we watched this kind of creatures, and in Shakespearean stories we'll get this kind of creatures, this kind of characters, where one eye is closed with black cloth, one leg is cut, and it is used, wood is used in place of that. Why? Just to show the gravity of the dangerousness. So to show the gravity of this pirate, how dangerous he is, it is said that his beard was black, but one of his leg was made up of what? Wood. It was clear that the pirate meant no good. So from his appearance and from the weapons he had with him, it was clear that his intention was not good. That means he was not coming to the house with good intentions. He was coming to the house with bad intention. So they understood from his appearance and from his weapons. It is clear that he was coming to the house with some bad intentions. Belinda paled, and she cried, "Help, help!" But Mustard fled with a terrified yelp. Ink trickled down to the bottom of the household, and Little Mouse blinked strategically mouse hold. Now what happened? In the next para we will get how brave they were. They were showing that they were so much brave. Now when they were facing a danger, their bravery is exposed fully. We'll get that, how much brave they were and how they were reacting to that danger which was approaching towards them. So first of all, Belinda paled. Pale means what? To go. Pale means what? To go bad. That is to go colorless. So Belinda paled. Belinda became colorless. Seeing the pirate approaching towards the house, approaching towards them, Belinda became colorless. She was so afraid of the situation that her color became paled. And she cried, "Help, help!" When she started crying, "Help, help! If somebody is there, help us, help us!" But Mustard fled with a terrified yell. Mustard, the dog, so brave he was, even he was as brave as a tiger in a rage. Now what he did, seeing the danger approaching, what he did? He fled from the place. He escaped from the place. How? With a terrified yell. With a terrified means what? Dangerous or explosive. Yelp means what? Scream. He made a screaming sound, explosive screaming sound, and then what? He escaped from the place. Ink trickled down to the bottom of the household. Ink, that means the little cat. What he did? He trickled down under the bottom of the household things. He was afraid of the situation. He was unable to escape from the place. That's why what he did? He trickled down. That means he entered under the materials of the house. That means whatever things were there in the house, he trickled under all the things. And Little Mouse blinked strategically mouse hole. And what did the little mouse do? It was his strategy. That means strategically he made a hole in the house. It was his strategy that if any time any danger comes, then I'll enter into my hole. So as per the strategy, hole was there, and when he had seen the danger approaching, what he did? He entered into his mouse hole. So all the brave creatures, they showed their bravery here. That means their bravery has been exposed here fully. They were unable to save Belinda, even they were unable to save themselves. Now they were trying anyhow to protect themselves only. Their owner Belinda was crying for help and help, but they are not able to help Belinda, even they are not able to help themselves. Here we are getting the real courageous creature of the story. Who was that? Whom we are calling coward, coward and coward. Here in this stanza we'll get his courage, his bravery, we'll see it. But up jumped Custard, snorting like an engine. clashed his tail like irons in a dungeon. With a clatter and a clank and a jangling squirm, he went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. When all other brave animals, they have escaped from the place, somehow they have protected themselves. Someone entered into the mouse hole, someone entered into under the household things, someone escaped from the place, and someone was crying. Then the Custard, the coward Custard, he jumped up, snorting, and he was making sound of his nose, and sound was like engine. It was not normal sound. The sound was like engine. Clashed his tail like irons. He made his tail what? Straight, and hit that one on the wall. That means he clashed his tail on the wall. How? Like irons in dungeon. Dungeon means what? That means underground iron cells. And when the doors of the underground iron cells are closed, so we have to close it so hardly, so strongly, we have to push it. So how we push the door of iron cells, iron door of iron cells? Like that, the Custard the dragon was clashing his tails on the wall. That means so hardly he was clashing his tails on the wall. With a clatter and a clank and a jangling squirm. Clatter, clank, all are what? Materialistic sound. That means he was making so many materialistic sound. And making his body bent. Jangling squirm means what? He made his body bent like squirm. He went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. Making his body bent like a squirm, he went at the pirate. How? Like a robin at a worm. What is robin? Robin is a small kind of bird. When the bird flies in the sky and suddenly he sees something on the ground as his prey, he comes down so fast, even before moving of this particular insect, he can catch it. That means so fast he can come. So just to compare that, how fast the dragon came to the pirate, it was said that he was as fast as like a robin, how when it comes to a worm. That means so fast the Custard, the dragon, came to the pirate. The pirate gabbed at Belinda's dragon. Gabbed at Belinda's dragon and gulped some grog from his pocket flagon. He fired 2 bullets, but they didn't hit, and Custard gobbled him every bit. The pirate gabbed. Gab means what? To stare. So the pirate was staring at Belinda's dragon. He was just, that means unaware of the situation. He was just looking at the dragon unconsciously. That means he was not aware of that a dragon is there in the house. If he was aware of the dragon, it was known to him that the dragon was so coward. But when he had seen that the dragon was so dangerous and it was approaching towards him, making dangerous appearance, so he was just gaping at the dragon. Then what he did? He drank some grog. Gulp means what? Drunk. Grog means what? A special kind of drink, one kind of wine. Generally, this is drunk by whom? The sailors. From where he has taken this one? From his pocket flagon. Flagon means what? It is a container. Normally it is made up of silver. A silver container which is kept in pockets of the sailors, and in this container they keep what? Grog, that means wine-like things. So it was there in the pocket of the pirate. He has taken out the flagon from his pocket, and then he had drunk 2 or 3 that means drops of what? Grog from this flagon. He fired 2 bullets, but they didn't hit. He fired 2 bullets also. He was, that means at that situation, he was not in a position to do some bad things or to harm others. He was just trying to protect himself. That's why he that means fired 2 bullets. But these 2 bullets didn't hit the dragon. And Custard gobbled him every bit. And Custard came to him and gobbled him. That means he ate him fully. Every bit means what? He ate him fully. So the pirate was unaware about the dragon. That's why when the dragon was coming towards him, he was gaping at him, and then he had taken out the flagon from his pocket, in which grog was there. So he drank some grog from that flagon. What was grog? A special kind of wine that is generally drunk by the sailors. So he drank some grog from that flagon. Then he fired 2 bullets also, but it didn't hit the dragon. And at last what happened? The dragon ate him fully. That means his chapter was finished. He was finished. He was killed. Now what happened? The behavior of Belinda changed. Earlier she used to tickle the dragon. Now she had seen that only the dragon had saved her. That's why she started loving the dragon. Belinda embraced him. Mustard licked him. No one mourned for his pirate victim. Ink and blink in glee did gyrate around the dragon that ate the pirate. Belinda hugged the dragon. Spikes are there on the top of the body. So ignoring the spikes, she hugged the dragon. Why? Because the dragon had saved her and her other pet animals also. Mustard licked him. Mustard started licking him. Licking, understand, using tongue. He started licking the body of the dragon. Mustard who? The dog. No one mourned for his pirate victim. All are happy. They were celebrating. No one was mourning. No one was feeling sad for the pirate who was killed by the dragon. Ink and blink in glee did gyrate. Ink and blink in happiness. They were gyrating. That means they were running around the dragon that ate the pirate. So ink and blink, they were also celebrating. They were very happy. In happy mood, glee means what? Happiness. So in happiness, they were moving around the dragon. But presently up spoke little dog Mustard. I would have been twice as brave if I hadn't been flustered. And up spoke ink and up spoke blink. Would have been 3 times as brave we think. And Custard said, I quite agree that everybody is braver than me. So here in this stanza, once again, we'll find that all other creatures, all other animals, they were showing their bravery, and somehow they are saying that they could not realize the situation, that's why they were unable to show their bravery. But Custard was so down to earth, he accepted everything. He did the main thing, he killed the pirate, he protected, he saved everyone. But then also, he was saying that yes, I am quite agree with you, all of you are braver than me. Let's see. But presently up spoke little dog Mustard. So, in between their celebration, suddenly the dog Mustard, he started speaking. What he said? I'd have been twice as brave if I hadn't been flustered. Flustered means what? Confused. If I was not confused, I would have been twice as brave as actually I am. So he is saying that I was confused of the situation, what is going to happen. That's why I could not show my bravery. Actually, if I was not confused, I would have been twice as brave as I generally think myself is. And up spoke ink and up spoke blink. And then listening to the dog, ink and blink, they also started speaking. What they said? We'd have been 3 times as brave we think. They are saying, yes, we were also confused. Otherwise, we would have been twice as brave as we think ourselves are. That means we are as brave as we can chase a lion down the stairs. But today, if we were not confused, we would have been 3 times more brave than actually our actual braveness. And Custard said, I quite agree that everybody is braver than me. And then Custard said, yes, I quite agree with all of you that everyone of this house is braver than me. I am not brave, I am a coward. All of you are braver than me. From there we can understand what coward was. Custard the dragon was a down-to-earth animal. That's why he was agreeing with everything whatever they are saying. Now in the next stanza, what we'll get? We'll get the repetition of the first stanza, only with the inclusion of a single word. In the first stanza, it is said Belinda lives in her little white house, but here in this stanza, we'll get Belinda still lives in her little white house with her little black kitten and her little grey mouse and her little yellow dog and her little red wagon and her really or truly or little pet dragon. So, as like the first stanza, here also it is said that Belinda was living in the house and still she is living in that house with all her pet animals. But the situation has been changed. Earlier she used to tickle the Custard, now she hugs him. Earlier it was known to everyone that the Custard, the dragon, is a coward one, but now, though he cries for a nice safe cage, but everyone knows that he is not a coward, he is a brave one. Then once again in the last stanza we are getting the repetition of fourth stanza, as it is. Fourth stanza has been repeated here. Belinda is as brave as a barrel full of beers, and ink and blink chase lions down the stairs. Mustard is as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard keeps crying for a nice safe cage. So all are brave, and still Custard cries for a nice safe cage. He thinks that I need to protect myself, I need a cage to live safely. But rest others, they think that they are so brave. So this is all about the poem. So I hope you have understood. So the moral of the poem or moral of the story, I said you earlier that this is a ballad. This will tell us a story, and we have got the story, and story was told in stanzas. So we got a story, very nice story it is. So what is the moral of the story? Moral of the story is what? One should not beat his own drums. So here Belinda, Ink, Blink, Mustard, all were beating their own drums, and when the real scenario arises, their beating of drum exposed in front of others. And another moral of the story is what? Empty vessels sound much. Empty vessels sound much. So dragon was really a brave one. He was not showing his bravery. He was not saying that I am as brave as that, I am so brave, I can do this, I can do that. But others were empty vessels. Belinda, Ink, Blink and Mustard, they were empty vessels. That's why they were sounding much. They were saying that we are like this, we are like that, we can do this, that. But when the real scenario came in front of them, their sounding, that means fake sounding of their bravery, has been exposed in front of everyone. And the Custard, the dragon, he came out as the real hero, though he was not beating his own drum and he was not sounding like others. I hope it is clear to all of you. The meaning of that difficult words also I have said. Then also if you face any problem, you contact me. My number has been already provided. So you can contact me at night from 8 to 10 p.m. So with that, I'm going to conclude my class. Thank you. Thank you once again.